Buddy, Mrs. G, thank you so much for coming. And I'm a minute late getting started because I'm always running around doing something, just before I get started. But today, and I'm going to start the poll now, and hopefully I'll remember to stop the poll before I stop the live. That's been my sort of issue, going around is stopping the poll before I stop the live. So I am going to talk today about changes. I didn't finish last week's live talking about one, living on $900 a month and my food budget, where I just created a video last Wednesday, a couple days ago, on exactly what I spend my food money on. But I did not finish talking about all of the talking points that I had from last week. And hi, Simply Debbie Sue. Already things have changed. I was talking about getting Social Security in a couple of years and investing all of my Social Security in the stock market. And so, excuse me, I didn't know I'd be coughing this morning. Hi, Shadow Scout Swede. It is evening over there. But it is 10:15 in the morning here. Well, I'm in the central part of America, so East Coast it's 11:15 or so. But anyway, last week I was talking about, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be clearing my throat here on the podcast or on the live stream because I don't know what's going on there. But last week I was talking about how I'm going to take Social Security in a couple of years. Hi, Lisa J. And this goes with Lisa J, how I was going to invest my entire Social Security in the stock market in a couple of years because I figured in a couple of years I wouldn't need the money. Well, a lot has changed in the past week. And so I need to update everybody on all the changes in the past week, which are that one, I learned that I can buy my new home that I want to buy sooner than I had wanted to buy it before because I can use a VA loan. So I can put down 0% and I can get a 30-year mortgage. So what's happened in this past week is one, I went away last weekend and I learned from a friend of mine that at 65 in my state, I could stop paying property taxes on my primary residence. And so therefore, if I get a new home, one, I could have it within, this next year, but also I could stop paying property taxes on it, which would make it a lot more affordable. Also, with interest rates going down and getting a 30-year loan, right? So if you figure I'm in my 60s, I get a 30-year loan, I don't care if I'm in my 90s when I pay it off. I'm pretty much done, And so I want to make the lowest payments possible. Now, having said that, and you sort of have to follow me with my crazy math, but having said that, I can pay off the house faster than 30 years because I'm getting a very non-expensive home, right? Less than 200,000. And in a lot of parts of the country, that's very inexpensive. There are places where you can't find a $200,000 brand new home, right? But I'm getting brand new for less than 200,000. But that's me. That's how I spend my money is I spend very little because I want to travel more. So I figure I'm not going to be in it much. So why spend 3, 4, 500,000? Oh, it's buffering already. It's back. Oh no. It is buffering every few seconds now. So I don't know if I should stop the live and restart the live or not. And Nameen TV, oh, I have somebody saying stuff in the chat, meaning that I'm actually getting a troll. And I don't normally get trolls, which is really cool. Please hit the like button. And everybody hit the like button because we're trying to keep this thing going. Hi, Monique. I'm buffering a little bit, but so far it hasn't dropped my live, I guess. So it buffered a couple of times. Okay, and so Shadow Scouts, we thank you that it's working on your side. We're going to keep going with this and hope for the best. I'm on my Wi-Fi, which is better than the Wi-Fi where I was at the lake. That was a different Wi-Fi company. And so this is a different Wi-Fi company that tends to be better on my Wi-Fi. But we're going to see. I don't know if these Wi-Fi companies don't like live streams, because that seems to be the issue. Other than that, my Wi-Fi works great. And so, hi Monique, I was talking about this home that I want to buy. It's a brand new mobile home, right? And I'm having some walls taken down, and I'm having all kinds of upgrades, is what I'm trying to say, right? Because that's how I roll. I just buy all kinds of upgrades. And so, because I'm not going to be in it much, I'm going to be traveling in the future, there's no need for me to spend a ton of money on a brand new home. And so anyway, that's what I'm doing. And because I can do it with my VA loan for 0% down, I can get it sooner because my plan was to put down 50%. Because I thought that you couldn't get a 30-year loan, and I thought that the payments were going to be higher. Oh, thank you for sharing me out on your community post. I really appreciate that, Shadow Scout. And everybody type fire in the chat so that everybody in the chat can get a link to your channel. Well, okay, thank you, Monique. Thank you for stopping by, and I appreciate you. Tiger, great to see you. I'm glad to see you here. Everybody go check out Tiger. He's now doing DoorDash. He and his wife are now doing DoorDash. So I talked to him one time and I said, well, you should do DoorDash videos because people on YouTube do DoorDash videos. And I've talked in the past about how to double your streams of income. So you're getting YouTube income and you're getting DoorDash income. So those are ways to stack your income streams. And so I never did finish last week's information that I was going to talk about because I went off the rails and just started talking about all kinds of things and chatting with the chat. Oh, good. He's dashing right now. Well, be safe out there on the road while dashing. So what I was talking about last week was, one, living on my $900 a month and how little I spend on food. So I did a video on Wednesday actually showing what I spend on food, which is not a lot. However, I do not have a varied diet, and a lot of people cannot do that, and I recognize that. That variety in diet, a lot of people love. And if that's what works for you, then do your variety of diet. Me, I only need a very limited diet, which I try to make as healthy as possible to keep my cholesterol down. I put flaxseed in my food to help my cholesterol. I'm on a low statin, a low prescription of statin now because I tried to lower my cholesterol for a year through diet and exercise, and it just wasn't working. And I've been able to do that for at least 13 years with my diabetes. I've been able to stay off of medication by using a proper diet and exercise. Do I go off the rails once in a while with my diabetes? Yes. But then I get back on my exercise and my diet, which is why I have a very limited diet, right? is because it keeps my cholesterol down and keeps my diabetes, my A1C down. If I eat the same food, that's just me. That's how I roll. But what I was talking about last week were things that I never got to. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to finish what I was talking about last week, and then I went into updating you on what's changed. And last week I was talking about not taking Social Security for a couple of years. One, to not get penalized on my income, my teaching income. Because rental income doesn't count. It's W-2 income that Social Security looks at. So if I make a little less than $50,000 this year, then that means I'm about $30,000 over the income limit. Meaning they would take away what, 15,000 from my Social Security. So what I'm thinking, and you sort of have to follow my crazy math, right, with all of this, is I could wait 2 years and not have them take any of my $50,000 teaching income. Just get the whole 50,000 plus Social Security. Or I could take it in less than 2 years, and for 1 year they would take $15,000. But I would get more than that in Social Security, and I would also have my teaching income. So let's say 35,000 in teaching income and 25 or 30,000 in Social Security. So I would still come out ahead, even if they take away the money for 1 year. And I get that money back. When Social Security takes your money because you earn too much, you get that money back later. They give you that money back. It's just they spread it out over whatever they think that your lifetime is going to be. And I've sort of been trying to avoid that. And one, I would like to avoid Social Security taking any of my money for any reason and then them figuring out how to give it back. But if it's only 15,000 for 1 year, and then they don't take any penalty on any money forever, right? And I get that 15,000 back, I'm debating taking that. And that's just been in this past week that has changed. Because last week I said, I'm definitely waiting 2 years. And because I want to be able to maximize Social Security and maximize or reduce the penalty, right? And so thank you, Mrs. G, for listening while working. I do the same thing. I watch YouTube videos or I watch lives while I'm grading students. And speaking of grading students, I just had a class finish. So now I'm down to 4 classes. And so that is very, very manageable. I have been up to 10 classes in the past. But with 4 classes, it's very manageable. And so I have to say, I'm very happy I've had my first troll. I don't normally get trolls, but I've had a good troll there. And so please hit the like button on your way in. And also, I forgot to say last week, does anyone like my quote of the days? Put a 1 in the chat if you can. If you like my quote of the days, because I like those. I like finding motivational quotes. And so I'm going to tell you that I get some of them from Mandy B at Lessons Lived. And one of the ones that she just said this week, which I was going to put on a quote of the day, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now. She said, motivation is the spark. Consistency is the flame. And I love that one. Because consistency is what I'm going for. I want to consistently pay off my rentals so that I consistently increase cash flow. And so the question of whether or not I would take Social Security a little bit early is because if I'm buying this new mobile home, the Social Security would pay for it. And I could get that right now. So the question is, why not take the Social Security early? And in theory, my rental income, which is variable, could pay for the mortgage on the new home, right? It could do that. But Social Security is guaranteed, it's not variable. You don't know if a refrigerator is going to go out in a rental. You don't know if the piping to the street, the sewer piping, is going to go out and cost, let's say, $1,500 to fix. You don't know. In the past year, I have had better, more steady cash flow from my rentals, which is a great thing. So Moonfleck says, so my finances don't permit me on truth. And so I'm not sure. I'm going to have to go back and see if I missed a comment on that one. But thank you for being here, Moonfleck. Please hit the like button because I'm trying to get as many likes as I can. And I'm seeing 23 people in the chat, but I'm only seeing 6 likes. And so I have no idea what all that means. But please hit the like button anyway and subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel because I need to get to that 1,000. And so we're talking about how am I going to finance or pay for the new home. Now, I could use teaching income, which is variable, and it has been decreasing over the past year, although it seems to have leveled off. And especially going into spring of 2026, things look fairly good. So, but my point is we don't know what the teaching income is going to be. And I'm also trying to pay off debts. So I had to put money down on this land that I just bought. So I need to pay that off. I bought properties in rental properties in 2025, and I need to pay off the down payment there. So I want all that debt gone. And I'm buying a new home. So I need to make these payments every month, plus pay off all this debt. And I think the cash flow from my rentals, because I'm going to refinance some in 2026 for lower interest rates, which increases cash flow. And so that's my financial plan going into 2026. But the question is, do I take the extra 2,000 or 3,000 that I would get from Social Security and add that on top of my pension, my teaching income, and my rental income? So that would increase me to 4 streams of income. So thank you, Shadow Scout. Yeah, I'm drinking coffee heavy this morning. So so do I go with 4 streams of income, or do I try to stay with my 3 that I have? And I'm not going to say hope and pray that they're enough. I'm pretty confident that they are enough. And I guess if I ever got myself into a financial bind, I could sign up for Social Security at that time. Like sort of wait every month. I don't know. It's like $20, $30 a month. It's not a lot, but it increases a little bit every month. And so I guess what I could do, because I'm sort of thinking this all out loud, is take the Social Security when it's absolutely necessary. You know, if I start to see, well, it's going to be tough the next couple of months making that mortgage payment because of this expense and that expense, then, okay, let's sign up for Social Security. And thank you, Mrs. G, for typing in fire, because I want everybody to check out everybody's channel that's here. So I am going to go back to what I was talking about that I didn't get to talk about last month. And I talked about the limits on Social Security, where it's 23,400 in 2025. But if I can wait a couple of years, it goes up to 62,000, and I don't even make that much in W-2 income. So there'd be no penalty if I can wait. So I think talking to you guys, what I'm going to do is take it month by month by month. And if I get to a point where I'm going to have trouble making that housing payment easily, not just stressful, but easily making the new house payment, then I'll sign up, for Social Security. And that way I have a, steady, stable income that will pay off the house for the rest of my life, and I don't have to worry about that monthly house payment. So, last week I went through my food budget last week. Now, did anybody put a 1 in the chat to see if they liked my quote of the days? I didn't see any 1s in the chat, so maybe you guys don't like my quote of the days. So we're going to wait and see if anybody comes in and they say they do like the quote of the day. So one of these quotes that I have here is, you don't have to be perfect with money to be free. You just have to start. And that's what you're seeing with me, is between last week and this week. Oh, thank you, Lisa J. And thank you, Debbie Sue. Because I love motivational quotes. I've been listening to motivational quotes for many, many years. I'm an old guy, so well over 30 years. With Les Brown is where I started. He was on public broadcasting way back when, the free channel. And he was doing these talks about, you can do this, you can do this. And I did not think that I could ever go to college. I never thought I would have a college degree, let alone a PhD, because I had tried college so many times and failed that I thought I'm not college material. I can't even pass one college class. And so, thanks to Les Brown, I said, let me try to pass one college class. And when I passed that one college class, I passed one more college class and one more college class. And I just took it one class at a time, which is how I do life. I do life one day at a time. And as you guys can see, I'm doing my finances one day at a time. So it has changed between last week and this week, but I have new information. And so the new information says that I can buy the house that I want sooner rather than waiting until I came up with some plan, because I've always got plans and schemes. Okay? Just know that about me, is I know my money. And so I was saying to myself, well, I can refinance these properties, or I could sell this one property that's not really producing and use that money to buy my home. Well, there are other options, right? One, I've got the VA loan. But two, and this is why you have to know your money, I can get equity loans on my rentals, use that to pay on my primary. And what that does is it shifts my primary. I think somebody's knocking on my thing. I don't know. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going here. Because nobody should be outside knocking. So if you know your money, right, plans and schemes, but you have to know your money. If I take the equity and get an equity loan on my rentals, now let's say 2 rentals or 3 rentals, because my rentals aren't very expensive. But let's say I take 2 or 3 rentals and get home equity loans. Somebody is knocking on my door, and nobody should be knocking on my door. Everybody wait, I will be right back.
Well, you know, we'll see
Okay, well, thank you, thank you. I'm on a YouTube live. Thank you.
Is there we seen the water line just been dug,
Mm-hmm.
and then the line going to the septic. If we stay behind all that like they got it on the ground, we're gonna miss everything.
Yep.
It's got to be 8 inches in the ground.
Nope, you go ahead.
Okay,
Thank you. I am sorry. That was actually my internet company, which, I was not expecting them, but they were knocking. My internet company, when they put in the internet here, they had a line just laying in my yard. I mean, and I was like, well, how do we mow out there? They just laid the line on the ground. Well, I called the internet company, and these people that just showed up here are going to bury the internet line down in my yard. They're digging a big trench. And so I did not know they were coming this morning. And so that was my glitch for today's live. Every week there's a glitch in the live. Every week there's something. And so this time it was not my mistake. So, and now if I can remember to do the poll and close the poll before I finish the live, then I'll finally have done it correctly. So anyway, I was talking about, I'm going to go back to where I was. Well, no, it shouldn't drop the service because it's a big old long line. They just had a line laying in the yard, but it was very extra. They had a lot of extra line. And all they're doing is burying it below ground so that when my lawn mowing guy comes, he can mow my whole yard. I've got about 2 acres. He can mow the whole yard without having to move the line or drive over the line or anything like that. This is life in the country, everybody. This is what it's like when you live out in the country. And so, what I was saying was, if I can get equity lines of credit against my rentals, right? And let's say that I can get up to $200,000. I'm just making this up because let's say my new mobile home is $200,000. But let's just say I could get $200,000 in equity. If I use that to pay off the mobile home, then I can write off the interest on my rental equity loans as business expenses. Okay, and that makes my primary residence a business expense, if that makes any sense at all. So these are the things that you have to think about when you, and I hope that you guys can't hear these people with their digger thing out there. It's a big old loud rumbling thing outside. These are the things that you have to think about with your finances. I don't know if I can get that equity, but I do know that Social Security would easily pay my mortgage every month, and I would never ever have to worry about it. Sort of like my pension. It's just guaranteed income that's plenty to cover all my bills. And so between my pension and Social Security, all of my living expenses would be covered. And so Vanessa Kitty says accounting territory. And so I've got to get back to the chat. Oh, she said, hi, Mrs. G. Oh, she's in rural Connecticut. Oh, that's really cool. I love Connecticut. I lived in Vermont, and my first rental was in Vermont. And that's how I started in the rental property space. It was many, many years ago. And I bought a house that had a basement, and they had a little room in the basement that was built for like a teenager that would visit the prior homeowners. Well, I had a bathroom built next to that little room in the basement and a little kitchenette built next to that room in the basement, and I rented out the whole 3-bedroom top of the house. And so I lived for free for 2 years while I owned that house. And then because I owned it for 2 years, when I sold it for just a little more than what I paid for it, no capital gains. And that's what I mean about you have to know your money. And so where I'm at in my life with my money is I want to, one, pay off the rentals. So I want to use that cash flow every month from my rentals to pay off the rentals, to increase the cash flow so that my money snowballs into more money and my rentals snowball into paying themselves off. But I also want them to pay off my new home. So this is the way I think. See, I only think about how can my money pay off my other things that I have. So your assets pay for your liabilities. And so the sooner that I pay off the new mobile home, the sooner I have that money back coming into my wallet. And that's where I am with my point in life right now. And so, so Vanessa Kitty says Vermont's nice, and her grandma had a cottage in Lake Champlain growing up. And I lived right near Lake Champlain in Virgins, Vermont, which is south of Burlington, Vermont. And I had a little boat, and we had a little like creek inlet in Virgins that would go out to Lake Champlain. So I could put my boat in Virgins, in my little town, like quarter-mile from my house, and drive it, a mile or a half a mile out to Lake Champlain. Or I could drive down farther south and put the boat in. But I would spend the night in my little boat. Now, here's Mr. Cheap Guy here with the cheap old boat. I would have a lawn chair in my boat, and I would lay out my lawn chair, get a blanket, and, anchor it and just sleep in my boat and wake up in the morning fishing. Wake up in the morning fishing and catch me a whole mess of catfish to take home to eat. And I loved Vermont. I loved fishing in Lake Champlain. And I loved having a little old little boat. Well, now we have a lot noisier noise outside with these guys out there digging. Can anybody hear the digging outside? I'll just check and see before I go on to my next point. So, in my fire journey, I've reached, we'll say, coast fire or lean fire. I'm not fat fire. If I paid off all my rentals, I could be fat fire. So am I trying to get there? Someday. Will it happen in the next 5 years? Maybe. We don't know. So, so somebody can hear it loud and clear. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I did not know. Benson Landing. That's where I used to put my boat in. Was in Benson Landing. So I'm sorry about the noise outside. I did not know that this morning they were going to be digging trenches in my yard. And so that has messed up my live. But I want to keep going. I do these lives every single Friday, and I'm trying to be consistent. So as I mentioned earlier, motivation is the spark, but consistency is the flame. And so my goal is to do this every Friday, whether or not some unplanned, uninterrupted noise happens. They're a little farther right now away, but they could come back, and we don't know. And so, anyway, so yeah, I can't believe somebody knows where Benson Landing is in Vermont. I mean, that's a tiny little town. Where I used to put my boat into Lake Champlain was in Benson Landing, and then spend the night in the boat. So, yeah, this is how small the world is. So I mean, if you guys really follow me, then you'll know that I have not done money right. I go forward, and when there's a shift, I make a shift. I go forward when there's a shift, I make a shift. And that's where my life is today. It's closer to Social Security than it was before. So now that's my shift. And so I would love to be able to take my entire Social Security check and invest it in the stock market. And thanks to Lisa J, this week I invested, I think, $150 in the stock market. And I bought something that is related to AI investments. I think it's a company, just a single stock related to AI. Um, but what I'm looking to do now is just grow the positions that I have. I think that I've bought all of the various different things that I'm going to buy, ETFs, and the only like company single stock that I have is Walmart because I use Walmart a lot. We have a Walmart here in my town, and I figure Walmart makes a lot of profits. So if I'm using Walmart and they make a lot of profits, I need to participate in that profit making. So right now I have one share of Walmart. And so let me get to the chat. Vanessa Kitty said her grandpa's boat messed up right there and just below the boat ramp for the state. I tell you, Vanessa, we have so much in common in that my old little boat, which wasn't much, I mean, it looks like $1,000 boat. It was some old thing that I bought. The thing would stop doing forward. The gear would not go forward. So I had to back it up and reverse all the way back to the boat ramp sometimes. And that's why I eventually got rid of the boat because it just kept having problems. See? And one of the things about Vermont, oh boy, hold on one second.
You got some water coming out of the ground over here.
Oh,
You want to come look at it? We was behind everything, just like we said.
oh boy, I'm on YouTube Live right now. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop this, and then I'll come out.
Yeah, okay. 'Cause we gotta get some water anyway.
Well, everyone, we are now going to have to stop the live because I have a water leak outside. So I have to go. I'm going to stop the live. And, well, no, Vanessa, I guess you can't. I've got to go outside and call the water company about my water leak. But I will talk to you all next Friday. Sorry about this. Okay, bye bye.